Hi there, welcome. This is the Kelly's Astrology podcast, where you can find insight, guidance, and understanding through astrology. I'm Kelly, and I'll be your host. Hey there, everyone, and welcome back. I've got a little bit of a different episode for you today. This is to honor, or perhaps is inspired by Jupiter stationing direct in Taurus, which happens on Saturday, December 30th. In this episode, I'm going to take you through the info that I shared in an article called 12 Teas of Christmas, Herbs and Healing. And this is a little bit of an introductory look at health astrology. So I'm going to run through each of the 12 zodiac signs and share the body part or organs and systems that are associated with that particular zodiac sign. I'm going to share some herbal tea tips for each zodiac sign and one little health tip. So I hope you find this an interesting little extra in terms of looking at astrology. I am still on my end of year break. And so next episode, we'll be returning to our usual type of podcast. But I wanted to give you something that might be a little helpful and maybe relevant at this time of year when there's a little bit more indulgences that are going on. That said, if you are starting to get set for 2024 and you want some insights or support or guidance around the astrology of 2024 and how to make the most of the year ahead, I hope you'll join me at my 2024 Year Ahead webinar happening on Saturday, January 6th. I'll be sharing all the info you need to make the most of the year ahead. I'll put the link to sign up below, and you can also sign up via my website, kellysastrology.com. So in this piece, or in this episode today, I want to share some info, just really gentle kind of herb healing connections for the zodiac signs. And I was inspired to write this piece or put this info together because of the idea of, the 12 days of Christmas. And I always think about 12 and astrology and the zodiac. So I wanted to come up with sort of an astrological version of those 12 days of Christmas. And instead of, gifts and things like that, it's really about herbal tea suggestions based on your astrology chart. I know at this time of year, you might be a little tired. You might be run down. You might be overworked, overscheduled. You might be feeling a bit worn out. It's been a big year. Maybe you're juggling more than usual. And it really highlights how important our body, our wellness, our vitality, just taking care of ourselves is. And so in health and medical astrology, there is a huge amount of detail, and you can learn a lot about your physical constitution, your body, even your mind, your mental state. So this info is very much just a basic introduction to some of the main links between the zodiac signs and the body. To get some of this info, we go all the way back to this ancient diagram called Zodiac Man, which is dated to about, 15 to 20 CE. And each zodiac sign is linked to varying body parts and systems. We start with Aries being linked to the head, the top of the body, and we kind of progressively work down through the body, ending with associations that have Pisces linked to the feet. We've also got the original 7 planets, the visible 7 planets, tied to different organs and functions in the body as well. For instance, the moon is linked to food and nourishment and digestion, while Jupiter rules the liver, as well as the hips, bums, and thighs. So there's a lot of lovely links that are really insightful to grab between astrology, whether it's the zodiac signs or the planets and the body. One of the things I went in the direction of with this info was to try and bring some herbal energy, some herbal tea info in. Herbal teas are such a gentle but can be a really effective way to support physical and emotional well-being. Personally, I am an enthusiastic herbal tea drinker. I drink many cups of herbal tea a day. I love brands like Puka tea and traditional medicinals and yogi tea. In fact, as I've been prepping to record, I've been sipping on a cup of traditional medicinals peppermint tea, which is one of my favorite teas to drink during the day. At this time of year, December in Canada, I'm often drinking a lot of chamomile tea, and that's because chamomile is associated with the sun. And I love drinking chamomile tea when we don't have as much sun around. I sort of feel like I get a little bit of that radiant warmth of the sun, which I always appreciate, to have more of that. So if you are a herbal tea drinker, let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. Now, when we're talking about the body and astrology, when we're talking about health and astrology, it's your moon sign that matters most. So the info that I'm going to share with you, I would really encourage you to think about your moon sign or maybe your ascendant sign rather than your sun sign. So the moon sign is super important where health and astrology come together. And the other parts of your birth chart that really describe your physical health and vitality include the ascendant and the ascendant ruling planet in your chart. And depending on what kind of condition your ascendant or your ascendant ruling planet might be in, that can indicate overall levels of vitality or lack thereof. And it can also speak to some of the specific types of health concerns that you might navigate at different points throughout your life. So you could certainly take in the info that I'm going to share today around, your sun sign, but I would really encourage you to think about this info for your moon sign or your ascendant sign, because they're the two that matter most when it comes to health and the body. So what I'm going to do now is run through each zodiac sign. So if you want to make notes, now's the time to have your pen and paper ready. So Aries rules the head, the face, the sinuses, blood, and the muscular system. Some of the best teas for Aries are ginger tea, any tea that might have ginkgo biloba in it, and also licorice tea. For a little health tip for Aries, it's good for Aries to avoid caffeine. They don't tend to need more stimulants. And I should put a little disclaimer here that make sure you check with your health professional about which herbal teas will be right for your particular health, your body, and any health concerns that you have. So this is definitely kind of general info, not meant to replace any kind of medical advice. So moving on to Taurus. Taurus rules the neck, the throat, and the voice. So this whole kind of neck region. Some great teas for Taurus include slippery elm bark, valerian, fenugreek, and licorice as well. Licorice tea is one of my favorites. But it is one of those teas that is not good for certain health conditions. That's one of those teas you want to check with your health professional around. The health tip for Taurus is to cut down on sugar and fats where possible. Gemini rules the shoulders, the arms, the hands, as well as the lungs and breathing. And the best teas, or some of the best herbal teas for Gemini, include nettle tea, echinacea tea, lavender, and calendula. Some of these are great for breathing and some are good for calming the mind. Health tip for Gemini is that Gemini tends to benefit from really good breathing practice, so breath work. So things like yoga and Pilates, meditation, anything that has a mindful breath component is excellent for Gemini. And as we've got through those first three zodiac signs, you can see how we're starting to move down through the body. So next up, we have Cancer. Cancer rules the belly, the breasts, the uterus, and digestion as a general thing. So some of the best teas for Cancer, so this would be if your moon is in Cancer or your ascendant is in Cancer: peppermint tea, chamomile tea, raspberry leaf tea, and dandelion tea. Now, the health tip for Cancer is that emotions are really tied to food choices. And so feeling good can help those Cancer placements make really nourishing food choices. Next up, we have Leo, which rules the spine, the chest, and the heart. So the entire cardiac system is Leo. And the primary thing we associate with Leo is the heart in the body, the center situation. Some great teas for Leo include dandelion tea, chamomile tea, valerian tea, nettle, and also fennel tea. And cardio activity keeps the heart happy. So that is a great health tip if your moon or ascendant is in Leo. We want to really support heart health. Virgo rules the intestines and the general abdomen. So any of the digestive processes that are about absorbing nutrients, minerals, and vitamins from our food. The general kind of intestines are linked to Virgo, but often it's really specifically the small intestine, which is where a lot of the processing and assessing of our food happens. Some great herbal teas for moon in Virgo, ascendant in Virgo: fennel tea, lavender tea, slippery elm, fenugreek, and peppermint tea. Since Virgo is associated with purity, food in the simplest form tends to work well for moon in Virgo or ascendant in Virgo people. So really kind of clean, simple, unprocessed food. Libra rules the kidneys, the bladder, the ovaries, and the endocrine system. So there's a little bit of our hormonal system that's tied to Libra. We've got some great teas to support Libra, include things like ginseng, juniper, rosehip, licorice, and dandelion. And a health tip for Libra is that staying hydrated with really clean, fresh water is super important. So if your moon or ascendant is in Libra, just making sure you're well hydrated to keep the kidneys functioning well, and that the water you're drinking is as clean and pure as you can get it. Scorpio rules the bowels, usually the large intestine, the lower part of the digestive process, as well as the genitals, all the organs of elimination. So reproductive organs and elimination organs are Scorpio. If you've got the moon in Scorpio or your ascendant is in Scorpio, the best kinds of herbal teas for you are dong quai, ginseng, raspberry leaf, valerian, fenugreek, and nettle. They are some great teas to help support the digestive process, the elimination process, as well as generally just are kind for the genital reproductive system. One health tip for Scorpio is that we want them to ideally cut back on salt where possible. We just don't want to get any dehydration going on in the Scorpio body zones. Next up, we're going to take a look at Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So you're going to hear me share some body parts that you heard me mention earlier. So Sagittarius rules or is associated with the thighs, the hips, the bum, and the sciatic nerve. So that whole kind of hip region, that's the Sagittarius zone. And some great teas for that part of the body include dandelion tea, fresh lemon tea, and red clover. So something that's a little bit more in the bitters zone tends to work well for Sag. And the health tip is that Sagittarius really benefit from keeping their legs active. Walking, hiking, running, lunges, squats, anything that is going to get those big muscle groups, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, getting those muscle groups going on a regular basis, so good for Sag. Now we come to Capricorn, our first sign ruled by Saturn. And Capricorn rules in the body or is associated with skin and teeth, literally, our bones. So all of those bony body parts, as well as our hair and nails. So think about it as the entire skeletal system, as well as the skin, which is a really important boundary that our body has between what's outside our body and what's inside our body. Some great herbal teas to support Capricorn include chamomile, fenugreek, elderflower, or elderberry. So the health tip for Capricorn is to make sure they're getting enough calcium in their diet. That's super important to help maintain strong bones. Now, when we look at Aquarius, we're now moving down the leg, and we're looking at the ankles, the calves, the nerve impulses, and the circulatory system. Some great teas to support Aquarius. So if you've got a moon in Aquarius or your ascendant in Aquarius, nettle tea, elderflower or elderberry, fresh garlic, yarrow, and echinacea teas. And the general health tip, if you've got your moon or ascendant in Aquarius, is that you want to avoid overstimulation. Our final sign brings us down to the bottom of the body, the feet. And so Pisces rules the feet, the toes, as well as the immune and lymphatic systems. Some great teas to support you if you have your moon or ascendant in Pisces: echinacea, yarrow, nettle, rosehip, as well as peppermint and chamomile teas. And a little health tip, if those placements are in Pisces for you, you'll probably be happiest when your feet are well taken care of. So comfortable shoes, stretching that really gets the feet and the toes going. That is all great for Pisces. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about herbs and the zodiac, as well as learning a little bit about some of the different body parts, organs, and systems that are connected to each of the different zodiac signs. And as I mentioned, really think about this information in relation to your moon sign or your ascendant sign, which are two really important placements for health in astrology. All right, team, thank you so much for joining me for another episode. My first kind of work event back for the new year is that Year Ahead webinar, giving you all the info and insights you need to have the best year possible in 2024. 2024 is a really exciting year. We're starting to get themes of acceleration coming in, and I'm going to be sharing more about why that is and how to work with that in that 2024 Year Ahead webinar happening on Saturday, January 6th. You can sign up via my website, Kelly's Astrology. I hope to see you there, but if not, I will see you here again real soon. Take care, everyone.